Alrighty, so I'm back to show you another graphic. This one is a little more advanced than the prior one I showed you, but you're going to be using skills that I taught you in the first video. So if you didn't watch the first video, then you may want to go watch it and just kind of pick up on some of the skills. If not, I will make individual videos explaining certain tools of Photoshop for you. So with that being said, let's get into it. Let me pull up the graphic. I'm going to share my screen here. All right. This is the graphic that I made. So I took it from an idea that I saw on SkullSparks. If you don't know what SkullSparks is, I definitely recommend going and checking them out on Twitter or their website, skullsparks.com. They have a lot of ideas for graphics, and overall, they are just someone to be keeping up with if you are in the media world of sports, especially within college. So let me show you what I did real quick with this graphic. Again, these are basic steps that anyone should know about Photoshop, and I can make a tutorial about how to do each of these objects. So this background layer that is the purple leather texture, I got it off of Google. You can put any type of texture. You could put a solid color. You could put whatever you want as a background. This is a 16:9 graphic. I mentioned, I think in the last video, that 16:9 will for sure fit on every social media. It is drilled that all of our photos, videos, and graphics at SFA fit 16:9. Sometimes they don't, which is okay, but from what I've learned, this is what I stick to, and who knows, maybe I'll go to my comfort zone one day, which I probably will. But anywho, so I got the background on here. I then made a text box, typed out game day, spaced it out to where it fits, and I can have one of the players or one of the studio shots of this guy right here. I then created a rectangle, which is this tool right through here, created it, put text in it, then created text through here, created another rectangle and made it long, made it go behind him. Again, to learn all this stuff, you're gonna be messing a lot with your layers, locking and unlocking layers, moving layers to where it works. So you're gonna have to be rearranging things. I then got this logo and this logo offline. They came transparent, they came transparent, so I just drug them on here. This is probably the trickiest part right here, is figuring out how to cut this guy out. In the last video, I showed how to cut him out. I cut him out, and I had another tab here. I cut him out, and then I dragged him on. And I used this tool right here to cut him out. But prior to cutting him out like that, you have to create a background layer or copy layer. And that's how I did that, and I drug him on here. To give him this shadow, I duplicated him. So for instance, I'm gonna unlock him. So this is him right here, this layer 0 copy. I drug it down here, and it created another one of him. To create the shadow, this is what I did. I went and adjusted. Hopefully you can hear me. My AC just turned down brightness, contrast. Actually, I think I upped the contrast. I went to exposure, turned down the exposure. You now have a shadow. You can then move it behind him. To make the shadow not as dark, you can change the opacity and fill. That is what I did to create a shadow for the background right here. Now I'm just gonna delete it. Ooh, so, sorry, singing Benny and the Jets by Elton John. Anyway, so now I have this shadow. This was a simple graphic to use. You could add more details to it, If you wanted to add like how to tune in, you could put how to tune in, where to tune in, maybe even the location. But right here, this is a graphic for if SFA was playing Texas Tech. Another thing you could add would, like, you could have a little box right next to it saying who the player is and maybe like a signature, maybe their number. I think he's number 3, so I could put like hashtag number 3 BJ Thompson or something like that. Yeah, so you could just add a little more details like that. This could also work for if there's a touchdown, I could put like touchdown, and then I could just say leave Stephen F. Austin football touchdown, and then down here I could put like the score, and I could use the player. Or if it's in baseball, you could use game day as well. You could do home run and then, you know, score, whatever. You could also use this for like player of the game, player of the week, stuff like that, anything. This is a pretty broad graphic to use. I do like the idea of game day because you're telling where it's at. The only thing that's missing is where to tune in or how to tune in. So that could be added maybe like right here. I think that'd be a good spot. But other than that, this is a really easy graphic, and you can't go wrong with simple graphics like this. Side note, some people are asking, like, how in the world do you get pictures like this? How did you get a picture like this? These are studio shots that I took myself. We have media days for players where we get photos of them in the studio. This is something you have to plan out in advance. You can't just be like, hey, get on the field and do that. You could. It may or may not be the same quality. You can also use photos from games like this. It's really going to depend on the quality of the photo. Again, this was taken in a studio with lights, camera, you know, the whole thing. So just keep that in mind when you're using photos like this on a graphic, especially if it's going to be a bigger photo. But other than that, if you have any questions, just comment below or reach out to me, and I'm going to continue to make more graphics and show y'all how they're made. So thanks for tuning in. Let me end the sharing.